week's episode of Seraph of the End, Vampire Reign. You and his friends finally gear up for battle as they're thrust into the front lines of a post-apocalyptic vampire city. They're gonna fight against vampires, they're gonna fight against monsters, and not only that, but there's a new character who was introduced in this week's episode, a brand new member of Yu's team, and she goes by the name of Mitsuba. I'm not quite sure how to feel about Mitsuba quite yet. This is just her introductory episode, but they go through her entire backstory, and I don't really like her character because she's sort of like that stereotypical tsundere-type anime character where they hate the main character at first, and little by little they start to really like them and maybe even possibly fall in love with them. I really don't see that happening, but only because I feel that Shinoa and Yu are probably going to end up together, but who cares about love stories? This week's episode had monster slaying in it, and what I really loved about this one is that they're finally sort of like explaining what these monsters are. They're known as the Four Horsemen of John, and they basically take the form of these big, quadrupedal, giant, frickin' Evangelion-looking monsters with spikes and teeth and weird tentacles which open up which look like graboids from Tremors. They're really freaky monsters, and their only goal in life is to hunt down humans and to eat and kill them. Sounds pretty similar to another post-apocalyptic anime, don't you think? These monsters can't be controlled by the vampires, but the vampires do use them to draw out the different military so that they can find them and kill them, and they actually use that to their advantage in this week's episode, because Yu and his team are walking out and they see this girl who's running away from this monster, and of course Yu wants to help. You know, he's the hero of the show. He's the one who's gonna go outside of the military rules to actually save this girl, while everybody else is just staying behind. Of course, everybody's incredibly conflicted at this, but still, Yu's the one who gets in there, and of course it ends up being a trap. But they are able to save this girl, and this is also where we finally get some freaking vampire fighting, which is awesome. And we also get to see some more of Ashuramaru's powers. Now, the thing about Ashuramaru is that I'm still not quite sure if Ashuramaru is male or female. I assumed that Ashuramaru was female, but a lot of the commenters in my last review actually mentioned that it's male, and just whatever, man. Anime's friggin' weird. All I know is Ashuramaru's powers are pretty freaking awesome. Basically, whenever Yu swings his sword, this like dark energy just appears from out of nowhere, ripping through the ground and all around him. He can actually create this like big tornado of like demon energy that goes around his entire body. While he's doing that, you can see the tattoos are glowing on his face. He looks really creepy and awesome, and he's really just getting all in on those vampires, just going ham as shit on these guys. And it's really awesome because they didn't even like expect that he would be that powerful, and they even decided to retreat just because of how intimidating Yu was in this scene. The episode ends, of course, with Mitsuba being incredibly angry because Yu decided to go against the orders and save this girl, but at the same time, he still did good. He still saved the girl, and this is finally when we get our backstory on Mitsuba, which is very similar to Yu, where basically she's just like him, where she was trying to save some comrades against this like big monster. She ended up saving one, but another one ended up getting killed. So now she doesn't want any of her comrades to get killed, and that's why she's so hard on all of them. This is a character trope I've seen before, so it's really nothing too surprising, but it all eventually leads to a very nice showery fan servicey scene with Mitsuba and Shinoa, so that's pretty cool. So what's the rundown? On this week's episode of Seraph of the End, this was a pretty good episode. This is what I've been waiting for, to see the characters get out into the world, discover things, and get into all types of crazy action shenanigans. This week's episode also finally decided to talk a little bit more about these monsters, which just sort of appeared from out of nowhere, coming from the earth, the Four Horsemen of John, a very interesting and biblical name, which I think is very creepy because their whole purpose in life is basically to destroy all of mankind and to drive them to extinction. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about them and what their real role is going to play and how they're actually going to interact more with the vampires, if there's going to be conflict between them and the other monsters. I don't know. There's just so much promise for the world of Seraph of the End. Not to mention, what the hell is Seraph of the End? That's something they're just going to have to explain for another episode. But this week's episode really was about the big introduction of a new character, and that's Mitsuba, and she's just a firecracker. Simple as that. The minute she's introduced, you can just tell that she's going to be a very loud, boisterous and very militaristic character, and she is. She's very hardcore and by the book, but at the same time, you know, you have to realize, are you going to save your comrades? Are you going to save the citizens? You're going to have to try and make some sacrifices if you're going to get into the field. That's what it means to be a soldier, and at the same time, you can't really blame her either, you know? You don't want her to lose her comrades. It's a very conflicting kind of thing, and even Shinoa knew during that one scene at the end that that actually was going to be a trap, and lo and behold, it was. Those vampires just came out of nowhere, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe some of the other vampires are going to have some more interesting abilities aside from the fact that, you know, they suck blood and they can use swords and everything. Maybe they will be able to use, like, the demon weaponry, which can be used by the Imperial Demon Company. I think that would be pretty awesome, if only just to see some more cool powers. Like, that demonstration from Ashuramaru this week was great, and there was actually some really decent choreography, especially with, like, the fighting with the swords. That was really well appreciated. This was just a very nice, action-y episode. On the technical side of things, animation, artwork, in particular, just the look of the city and how destroyed everything is, looked really good and added a lot of atmosphere to this week's episode. There was also a decent amount of humor in this week's episode. Most of that was coming from Shinoa. And speaking of which, Shinoa actually mentions that she had a sister who apparently is dead and had a big rack. Her words? Not mine. All I know is I can't wait to learn a little bit more about her life and her father, who's that one weird, freaky guy with the eye patch and the mechanical hand. Like, there's going to be so much more backstory for Shinoa that I want to learn about, because she's clearly the main female lead of the series, with Mitsuba sort of, like, right behind her. But still, this is a really nice ragtag group of newbies, and I can't wait to see them go into battle a little bit more, and just, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next episode, because they just found this, like, settlement where all these vampires are living, so it's just going to be action-packed and a lot of fun. I can't wait to see more of Ashuramaru's powers. This was a very nice demonstration of what the action in the series is going to be like, and I'm pretty excited. So I like this episode a lot. I thought it was pretty good. You know, just like the rest of the series, you know, Seraph of the End is not like rewriting the book on action anime or anything. It's generic as all hell, but it's a lot of fun. This is a fun vampire anime show that you should definitely watch if you like action anime. You're definitely going to get something out of it. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Really good episode. I liked it a lot. But what about you guys? Did you watch this week's episode of Seraph of the End? What did you think about it? Tell me in the comments section below. What did you think of the brand new character of Mitsuba? Do you think her weapon's cool? Do you like her personality? How do you think she's going to develop as the series is going to go on? And what do you want to see from the rest of the Seraph of the End anime series? Thank you guys for watching my video. Make sure to like it and share it with all your friends, and make sure to follow us on social media and to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.